Hello, and welcome to World Civilizations 2. We are on chapter 39. We're talking about modern sciences and its implications. Um, the quote for this chapter is by Albert Zent Georgi. Discovery consists of seeing what everyone else has seen and thinking what no one has thought. Okay, so this is talking a lot about physical science, reasoning, the soft sciences. Of course, we're touching on German universities and their thought process. We'll be talking about Darwin and Joseph Lister, the founder of modern surgical techniques. There's some great pictures. The young Einstein. It's a great picture of him in here. We also will be talking about some famous families. The Curies, right? Social Darwinism, Karl Marx, Max Weber. All right. There is a mention of someone at the end of your chapter, and it talks about some other intellectuals, one of them being Reinhold Niebuhr from Germany, who is the author of the Serenity Prayer, which I thought was really interesting. And the Serenity Prayer doesn't really end with what we often see pictured. Oftentimes the Serenity Prayer, there's a couple extra parts to it that are even more just deep and touching as well. Okay. So we're looking on the timeline. Charles Darwin, The Origin of Species. It takes place in 1859 when he publishes that. The Descent of Man. In the 1880s to 1920s, Marie Curie, Max Planck, Albert Einstein, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, and Ivan Pavlov. You're going to see a lot of scientists coming out of Germany. And we really kind of trace that back in history because of the patterns with education. I mean, education lifts an entire country. And with Martin Luther nailing those theses to the wall, which last October was the 500-year anniversary. With that, we have Martin Luther wanted everyone to read. So he told, officials or those in government that women, children, and poor and wealthy, everyone should read in their vernacular, which really raised education in Germany with excellent scientists and universities and research and study. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the PowerPoint. Here we go. We'll switch it. Here we go. And let's make it bigger. All right. Modern science and its implications. All right, this is a picture of, I was going to try and find it in my book, Albert Einstein and his wife, I believe. Oh, I don't see it. I believe that's his wife as well. And then we have the timeline that we just talked about. 1891, we didn't talk about Rerum Novarum, which is published by a pope. Okay. First nuclear reactor is in 1942. In 1953, Crick and Watson discovered DNA and particles found. Okay. Dazzling period of science and innovation from 1860 to 1940. Reliance on empirical science or experiencing science. Modern science is complicated, hard for non-scientists to understand. Biology, we have Charles Darwin and The Origin of Species. Evolution of all species by natural selection. Mechanical explanation in variety, nature, evolution eliminated the role of God or intelligent creator. Although what you need to understand is many scientists believed very much in God and very much in science. And so many times these are pitted against each other, and they do not have to be. Charles Darwin and the Descent of Man includes humans in evolution model, conscience as survival mechanism. Did not explain why natural selection happens. Gregor Mendel explained this in Principles of Modern Genetics. Francis Crick and James Watson discovered DNA, discovered genetic core, the biological blueprint that parents pass off to offspring. Physics, Ernst Mach. Uncertainty principle showed it's impossible to apply philosophy to physical matter, substituted probability for Newtonian law. Wilhelm Röntgen. Many of these are German last names because many brilliant minds came from Germany because of their educational emphasis. Discovered X-rays, gave rise to experimentation in subatomic particles by Rutherford and Curie. Max Planck, quantum theory, revolutionized study of energy, explained contradictory data about motion of subatomic particles. I cannot talk today. Physics, Albert Einstein insisted that space and time form a continuum, saw as a fourth dimension of space. Well, time is a fourth dimension of space. General theory of relativity, which, when he published that, it was the greatest published piece since Isaac Newton's writings. Detection of Higgs boson particle, reduced number of laws used to explain interaction of matter and energy. Ernest Rutherford, pioneer in study of radioactivity. Marie Curie, proved mass and energy could be converted into one another. Biology. Cartoon of Darwin with an ape, taken from the 1874 edition of the London Sketchbook. This caricature mocks Darwin's theory of evolution. Physics. Physics differed from Newtonian physics, and Newtonian physics, of course, is referring to the physics of Isaac Newton. Okay. 20th century science emphasized uncertainty, certainty replaced by probability, relativity, observation affects that object, interchangeability of matter and energy. Modern physics, incomprehensible to most people. Widened gap between scientists and educated lay people. And we've had this problem of a widening gap of academia and the masses, all right? Something gets lost, and you have to be careful to make sure that you're speaking in terms to educate the public. And that's why oftentimes, academia and the university world is called the ivory tower because it's so high and lofty, and sometimes those facts and those thoughts do not get down to where they need to be. All right. Astronomy and astrophysics, major changes in the last 60 years. We have telescopes, radio devices, space vehicles, spectroscopes, the Big Bang Theory. Universe began with a cosmic explosion 13.8 billion years ago. That's what many of the scientists were saying. Universe is still expanding at an accelerated pace, contradicts previous theory that gravity would slow the expansion. Speculation on multiple universes in a dark matter is another form of matter. Social sciences, huge explosion in social sciences and psychology. Social sciences have human beings as a subject. Psychology, sociology, anthropology, economics, political science, methodology, strongly affected by physical science. Psychology became an important branch of medicine with Sigmund Freud, who also was from, Austria, close to Germany. 1856 to 1939, founded psychoanalysis, believed unconscious controls mental state. Sexual drive is the chief motor of the unconscious. Rejected principle of rationality. Childhood events are roots of mental problems. Struggle between the libido and the superego. Okay, we have Carl Jung, early collaborator with Freud, founded his own school, emphasized religious symbols, archetypes as a collective unconscious. And then we have Pavlov, his Pavlov and his dogs, Ivan Pavlov, founder of behaviorism. Rewards, punishments, control behavior. William James and B.F. Skinner carried further these ideas. Anthropology and sociology, both sociology and anthropology, treat humans as species rather than individuals. Anthropology, an indirect product of Darwin's biology, two varieties, physical and cultural. Physical deals with humans as an animal species. Cultural deals with human systems of values. Paleoanthropology combines archaeological and sociobiology. I cannot talk today. These are big words too. Paleoanthropology combines archaeological and sociobiology together. And this is Pierre and Marie Curie with their daughter Irene. Very prolific family of scientists. Astronomy and astrophysics. I don't know why that can't be displayed. Anthropology and sociology, Auguste Comte, the positive philosophy, Laws of social behavior are just as knowable as those of physical behavior. Positivism, only empirical, measurable data are reliable. Other formative influences include Durkheim, Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, and Karl Marx. Anthropology and sociology. Particularly appealing to Americans, society can be changed by conscious human intervention. Herbert Spencer and social Darwinism. Ethics are evolutionary. Competition is force of social progress. Survival of the fittest, which often was used by powerful people to exploit workers in many factory settings. Powerful have used to justify their power, and that's a problem. Melees of the 20th century, cultural relativism, no longer confident that Europe's ideals proved universal. World War I made people less confident of science. Ability to solve problems, psychology and physics contributed to insecurity. Religious and thought practices. Churches are under attack in Europe. Intellectuals rejected tradition and authority. Liberals rejected conservatism of the church. Peasants remained most faithful followers. Middle class refused to tithe. The working class ceased to attend church. Science used as a weapon against church, and vice versa, by the way. God can be used as a weapon in religion as well. State-supported education restricts churches' roles. So secular education, religious beliefs no longer a qualification for voting or holding office for the first time. And we see that different Jews and Muslims and groups were able to hold office. Christian revival. Churches work for a renewal. Fundamentalism strengthened in U.S. and England. Other Protestant groups active in education missionary work. Germany, Bismarck attacked church in his Kulturkampf, but it emerged stronger than ever. The Rerum Novarum is a paper letter, supported social justice for workers and poor, denounced atheistic socialism, gave Catholics guidelines for more liberal order. So, this idea of blaming the poor for being poor really didn't happen. It was more of a movement with the Puritans and some Puritan ideologies. So the Pope is going back and saying, there needs to be some social justice for the poor. World War I hits, all organized religions very hard. Clergy denounced as pawns of government. Marxist propaganda is anti-religion. Okay, and I know we went through it quickly, but it was definitely a shorter one. A shorter chapter, but has packed full of stuff in there.
It's 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right, so there you have science and technology and all kinds of interesting information, and hopefully that helps you be ready for your quiz, and have a lovely evening. Thank you very much.